Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Modern Human Podcast with your host, Wendy.
And Brenda. Hello, everyone.
So excited to be here and back in the saddle again.
It's been a while. It's been a long while.
Well, we're really excited to be back. So we really are excited about having so many amazing conversations together because Brenda and I are very different. So we always have different kinds of viewpoints, right? And different kinds of angles of approaching these topics, these spiritual topics about being, what it is to be a modern human today, right? So, what are we going to talk about?
I'm just going to jump right in and tell you all that we've started our podcast officially after, almost 2 years of absence with a big fight. Actually, it wasn't a very big fight. It was a little conflict. So we got a little heated, which is exactly what we really like, is we want to be able to come in and kind of share all of our differing perspectives and tone it down a little bit. I'm being laughed at right now, which is hilarious. And I do want to do a little shout out to Bella, who is helping make this possible with all the nuanced studio audio, video things that scare me a little bit. So thank you to her. And she's going to help us launch this new 2.0 version of Modern Human. So we're going to jump right in. And Wendy came at this topic from kind of this global macro view, and I, of course, came at it a micro view and thought we were talking about two totally different things, and of course we weren't, because that's how it works. But we want to talk about Christ consciousness, which I will admit was or is a little bit frustrating to me. I feel like it's this grandiose, otherworldly kind of concept of like, maybe someday we'll get there, or, I don't even know, obedience maybe is my struggle with it a little bit. It's just this, like, we should want to be that and be that, or we should want to be that and do that. And my argument is that we already are. And to even say that language or say those words, I don't know, I get a little bit triggered, and like, we are already that. Can we be that? Can we surrender to ourselves and to life in a way that honors our divinity and our sovereignty? You want me to keep talking? Keep talking. Because already she's...
Well, partly I appreciate your point of view, because it is, we are that. And as soon as we name something, we start putting a box around it. And as soon as we start putting a box around it, we create limitation. And in Christ consciousness itself, it is no limitations. So it's kind of, kind of a weird thing.
Well, and maybe part of like my trigger, my naming is like, we come from a long history of having a religious doctrine that was used or weaponized against people, right? And that
it's abuse of power, and the manipulation of that. But I feel like that's why it's good to have these conversations, so we can start repairing or healing from that abuse, because right away when we say Christ consciousness, you think of Christianity, right? And it's not even really what it's about. It's not about Christianity. It's not about religious doctrine. It's about being Christed.
Right.
And being Christed is, many people have been Christs.
Yes.
I wish I knew the actual definition of what that is. My brain is totally forsaken me in that way. But it's this idea around, it is another way of explaining this fifth dimensional expansion or enlightenment, or how that's available to all of us now. And in that is unity, it's compassion, it's all of the things that you talk about. And
for sure.
And how we're supposed to embody these concepts. We're meant to embody them, meaning bringing them into our physical form through our behavior, through our thoughts, through our words and our actions. So it's not like you can have Christ consciousness and then be mean to people on the streets, right? Or
mean to yourself.
Or mean to yourself, right? But that's just that's where I feel like what you're talking about goes into that obedience, where I'm just going to be nice for nice sake. And we don't necessarily, or that's not necessarily what that is either. But I do feel from a bigger picture kind of point of view, it's this idea around Christ consciousness is a higher frequency. It's like a high frequency energy that we now are just becoming conscious of because of our consciousness expanding. And we've labeled that increase of frequency Christ consciousness, right? But it really
And it
is
was
just a higher
prophesized.
frequency.
Like, I mean, I do feel like it's important that we honor our ancestors and honor everyone who's come before us. I mean, this is what was told and what we knew is coming back with the rainbow people and other prophecies that I'm sorry I'm not that knowledgeable of. Hopefully somebody here listening is, and they can share that with us. So I do feel like that's important. And there's just this, I guess, maybe experience with this conversation that I struggle with, because it's not just in the mind. There's no way to even have this conversation if we're not allowing ourselves to be in the peacefulness or the surrendering. And I know you're in your membership for this month, you talked about it, I think, in flow or something. It's like that in flow is the way of being this idea. And so we do kind of, I feel, we have this linear approach to it when it's meant to be an experience. Like all of this now is really meant to be an experience and really a tool to help us move into this heaven on earth, this expansion, this upgrading, this new earth, whatever language you're going to put around it.
Yeah. And I feel like we go about it in an intellectual way because where our culture has been out of balance. And in that out of balance, we have been in that headspace. And so in some ways, energetically, we're trying to create a bridge. And so creating a bridge, we start in the intellect so people can find their way into this other way.
I really don't like that bridge.
I know. Because we have opportunities every day to witness Christ consciousness and the magic and the flow. And I think that because of that imbalance, most of us are still in, being in the headspace because of trauma or whatever, we think that other side is wrong or, crazy or just weird, so.
Yeah, and I feel like for me, where I go with that, and so call me out if I'm leading us off of where you're at with it, is that we are reaching a point where consciousness is able to be seen by those of us that are aware of it. Meaning that there are those of us without this consciousness, and then there are many of us with it. And honoring that, taking responsibility for that, being accountable for that. That when we want to be, and I'll use it of self, when we want to take this awareness of Christedness and then put it in on self, meaning imploding on self, being mean to self, we're causing significant harm because there is great power in that.
I'm confused where you're going. Like, where are you going from where we were just talking about?
Well, that's why I meant to call me out, because that's where
you just lined somewhere completely different.
That's where it led me into you. So,
well, for those of you that are following along that are using your brain, let me bridge that. You're talking about.
To me, this is a perfect example of what I'm trying to talk about. It's like it's this quantum realm that, to me, I can't stay just in the linear process, right?
Right, and you're talking about consciousness now, and you're talking about how consciousness versus Christ consciousness, because we're kind of talking about an embodiment of, because we were talking about an embodiment of basically being balanced in mind, body, spirit with your thoughts and your words and your body, and you're staying in that state of flow. I mean, this is like, and you've healed your past, you've healed in your ancestral line, you're aware of all these things. That's an embodiment. And now you're saying your consciousness is increased enough to where when you actually are mean to yourself and to others, when you know better, you're not, right? That's when it creates like exponential harm dimensionally.
Sure, but I mean, I guess one of the things that tripped me up on what you said is like, I in no way feel, I'm going to say it like this. I feel that I'm still getting better every day at all of those things. I'm getting better every day at healing all those ancestral wounds and all those past lives. So it's like, that's where I struggle with this concept, because it's like, we're not all enlightened. Like, because to me, what you spoke of enlightenment. Like you spoke of, I'm in alignment everywhere across all times and all spaces, where to me, this Christedness, this, I I don't know, flow state might be more being authentic. Like I'm authentically getting better at this every day. It's a real thing for me. I'm not faking that. I'm not obedient to it. I show up in some way every single day in honoring of my authentic self and loving of my authentic self and healing of my authentic self, right?
Right.
I mean,
So where is that then in relationship to Christ consciousness? You're saying that's the same thing.
I'm saying for me, yeah, that is the exact same thing. And then tied into, I mean, said a different way of consciousness is like, where are you in your evolution as a soul? Where, you know, kind of the, what would be the way I want to say this? Like the mean average of the frequency you held in every lifetime.
Right. Because now we're dimensionally expanded.
Right.
And we're aware of it.
Right. And so for me, and maybe like answering my own question is like, we have moments where we remember and we know because we've done the, you know, somewhere and across all times and all spaces. And then it's coming into this experience of, you know, if I speak for myself, there was some trauma, there was an immense amount of trauma, and the ability to move through that was based on, I feel, my other experiences. I don't feel like the skill set that I feel like I'm being way too fucking intellectual, and I'm probably not supposed to say that word right now, but it started annoying me. So I'm just going to be real for a minute, okay? It's one of the things that's often been asked of me is like, who helped you? Who was your teacher? Because I want to go to them. I want to go to your therapist. And the answer to that has been, I can't say no one because everyone helps us on our journey, but there wasn't one teacher, there wasn't one person, there wasn't anyone who took me under their wing and said, Brenda, you know what you're doing, and I see your consciousness and all of
Let me mentor you, let me teach you the way.
I didn't have those experiences, which I'm
like,
hoping we're moving into an era that we do this for people, that we are aware, that we do recognize each other, that we do start helping each other out. But I didn't have that. So then what is the answer to that, right?
Right, I feel like that's a younger mindset. That's a younger mindset, needing a mentor, needing whatever, not really necessarily having the answers within you. And you're saying you have the answers within you.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fine line, right? Like, ideally, I would love to start doing that for people. I would ideally love to start supporting each other in this way, in an authentic way, not in any kind of power structure, of course, but. Yeah.
Right, because the way for somebody is so, it's almost like shamanism where they really do help you just find your own way.
Right.
Where it's not like follow the certification and you got to put your hands here and then do this and then have very specific, almost dogmatic, which is extremely limited. And it doesn't allow for the no thing or the unknown, which is you have to allow for that in that intuitive space, right?
And even more like that wisdom within. Because within each and every one of us is that mastery of self. And that to me is Christ consciousness. That to me is the activation of that part of your DNA and that sovereignty and that divinity. Like it's you're the thing.
Right, because if Christ is just light, right? And it's like light in consciousness, so it's basically an expansion of your awareness. I do feel there are many pathways to that, right? And it is finding your own way. But I do feel fundamentally there are, we talked about this earlier today. I mean, I don't know. It's because it almost sounds like it's like I'm being dogmatic about it. But there's this awareness of like, I feel like with you and I, we have consistently brought everything back into love, and we've innately known that we needed to do that.
Sure.
Right? Which is loving the self, but without no one telling us.
Sure.
Right? And really alchemizing the dark and turning that into light. Like we knew that innately.
Yeah.
And that is a consciousness that not everyone
has.
We weren't around that.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
And I feel like Christ consciousness is that through time and space, But it's really recognizing even the functioning of the separateness, though, of that darkness, of that. Not that I want to really get into all of that, but I just feel like
Yeah, it's so fascinating to me, like how your pathway like into it and your bridge, like and I kind of vented about your bridge, and your bridge is beautiful, and I
My
really
bridge is
appreciate it.
beautiful.
But even that, like you kind of come at this of this like almost, I don't know, like physics math problem, and it's very neat, and you're like, and this is how I don't even know what the symbols are that you put in your amazing paintings, but like you'll make these quantum representations of like really it's math, and so like just the physics of like, yeah, the darkness with the light, and then the thing, and it weaves, and then it goes here, and then it
Yeah.
and it portals out this way, and it goes that way, and so it's like really cool, but your brain can really break that down in such a beautiful way that's so helpful.
But in the human way, it is just loving your darkness, loving your whatever.
Yeah, and I'd love to circle back into even something you said about like the path of this, and I feel like that is one of the things that's shifting with this awakening, this grace consciousness unraveling or unveiling itself. It is that there's no path. There actually isn't even a thing.
Right.
So then, if there isn't that thing, if there's not a linear, I'm going to walk here or walk there, you could do this thing sitting still, and I know we've like fleshed all these things out because it's not a concrete just doing space, but we are going to each have our own way about it. And
Right, and that's where it gets complex, but also it's almost like having this conversation, and what you're saying is almost like the opposite of what we should even be doing. Like if Christ consciousness had a thing, it would be silence. So we wouldn't really be talking about
Thank you. That is exactly what I'm trying to say. I'm like, what do you mean we're going to talk about this? There's nothing to talk about.
It's like talking about silence when we need to show you what silence is. And silence is that.
Right.
And what is that? And then we give it a word, but as we're saying the word is when we're actually knocking it out. We're actually hurting it.
Yeah, and in that too, like I want to speak of then healing or being the light in the dark is an experience of, cultivating, being in the flow of my darkness, my shame, my pain, my whatever, while bringing fully through my light, my love, my compassion, my kindness. Like that's Christ consciousness, but it's like, we're talking about it, hopefully doing a fairly decent job or quarter of a decent job, because it's really more just like, what does it feel like to be your own self? What does it feel like to, I don't know, align with self, to be with you, right? And, this is why I feel like there's been so much language around, being present, be in the now, now is the buzzword of like, staying centered and in flow. And it's like, it is that for sure. And that's beautiful. And I love all of that. And it's more like, it's this more now of everything. And it always has been for sure.
No, it is, that's the doorway, right? It's the doorway is when you bring everything back to self, back into this present moment of now. And you show up for whatever's arising. We talk about this all the time. And as you're doing that in this moment, it opens a door to a different dimension, a different dimensional plane. And that dimensional plane of awareness is where you can manifest and where you can do all sorts of different things. We talk about that a lot. But that ability to open that door consistently, let's say always, but you have to be conscious, because technically speaking, we're all Christ conscious right now. We're just not aware of it, right? So it's like, but to actually pull that into embodiment is like this mastery of self in this powerful present moment of now. And as you're doing it consistently all the time, then there you are. There is this it's almost like this conversation doesn't matter,
Yes, I do. This is why we had a fight before we started. It wasn't really a fight. It was conflict, everybody. Conflict is good.
I didn't even know it was conflict, guys. I didn't. She was over there having conflict. I was thinking about puppies and rainbows. No, I didn't know it was conflict, though. I thought we were just having a conversation.
We were.
Yeah.
We weren't agreeing.
Oh, we weren't agreeing. That's normal. That's par for the course. You know, she just needs to really understand that I'm always right, and then it's fine. Yeah, but anyway, so I would say it's not important because it really comes down to you, who's ever listening, what's showing up on your map, how are you feeling? You know, and then as you bring yourself into your awareness of your body in this moment, like then we're entering your space. But when we're on these devices and we're listening to these things, we bypass ourselves, and we're honestly like trying to be fed outside of ourselves. And so it's like, no, if you can pull your awareness back into your body and allow us to enter into your space or into your mind and your heart. And then we'd say, go ahead.
No, it's a really simple thing, not always easy depending on where your nervous system is at and where your mind is at. And just for the sake of this experience, that anyone who is still listening, I don't know how many minutes we've been talking now, but if you're still here, I do invite you to just slow down for a second. And I do invite you to let go and just put your awareness anchoring into every single cell of your body. I like to kind of imagine that I'm going to, get into my root chakra, into my sacral, into my power chakra, to my heart, my throat, my third eye, right? I just kind of give attention there just to open it and activate it. And then tell yourself to balance right now. I am in balance, or balance right now, whatever works for you. And then in balancing, because you are incredibly powerful, and then allowing yourself to take a deep breath and slow down that exhale, and then connecting with that heart space, that love that you have for yourself, that you have for each other, that you have for the earth, and just allowing yourself to be in the energy of this love. And feel the acceptance of it and the peacefulness of it, maybe the healing of it. That's it. It's this, more and more every single day, every moment of every day, to where maybe each and every moment that you enter into, you allow yourself to become present in this way. You allow yourself to greet yourself with so much love that then you're greeting everything else with so much love, whether it's the food or the water that you're drinking and eating and the people you talk to, right? Ideally, this is how I would love to show up every moment of every day. And I'm still getting better at it. And that's okay. You're doing a really good job. We're all doing a really good job. This is simple stuff, not always easy. Truly. And we're going to keep talking about it. And even though I don't always like the pathway of the intellect, that's part of this particular platform. So I will practice getting more comfortable.
I mean, we could have a podcast where we literally just sit in silence.
That doesn't defeat the purpose.
No, that's what you're saying,
Yeah, but what is like the sound bowl healings? Like I listen to those all the time and I love those. That's kind of,
you're doing
I know
something.
It's noise, but it's like.
It's frequency.
I know it's frequency. It's like, to me, like to be still. I don't know. But
Yeah,
you're right.
it still has function.
The purpose of having a
Right,
podcast.
a podcast is information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
So Christ consciousness really is just, it's love, baby. It's love, baby.
Yeah. And there's so many beautiful ways that we've seen this come through. So.
But it's loving yourself.
Yeah.
It's loving yourself first in all your parts.
Yep.
So that, depending on your past, can be a long process. Believe me, I know for myself. We're all works in progresses in that way, and that, we're getting better at every day, kind of anchoring into love and light always. I mean, when in doubt, right? Love the self, choosing that.
No, and remember, too, that part of Christ consciousness is that the more light and love that you bring to your own self and then to those around you, brings it to every single one of us around this planet. That's how it works. We didn't even talk about that yet. This is how powerful this is. We are all a part of this, whether you're admitting it or not, whether you're aware of it or not. Every single one of us affects every single one else. That is amazing. So thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing love. Thank you for staying open and being curious and practicing being at peace and practicing feeling calm and helping us create heaven on earth. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. I do want to say, just for those of you that like the thinking space, light is something that we don't fully understand, like the speed of light. Like we can never get there, right? In some ways, it's showing you the limitations of this dimensional plane that we consider the third dimension. And yet, I like that in that mystery of, let's say, the speed of light, not necessarily understanding all the things that are going on, it really does open us up into this, I don't know, this idea. Christ consciousness is you becoming conscious of the magic of that light. Like we're taking that light and we're infusing it into our voice, we're infusing it into how we see, we're infusing it into our thoughts, we're infusing it then into our actions. And that embodiment of all of those things is where it's like the Matrix. Now you're behind the frickin' scenes and you're literally able to create anything and everything. But the thing is, with Christ consciousness, it's the worthiness of the heart. It's like not the worthiness, but the true of heart. Like King Arthur pulling this sword out of the stone. It's like you can't get there with that kind of mastery with ill intentions. You can't get there wanting to take power over somebody else, because in Christ consciousness, you know that they are you and you are them. So it is, there's this idea, I don't want to get into all of that, but just the exploration of light itself is a beautiful adventure. And that's what's on the other side, is this magic. So,
yeah.
Is that weird? And thank you. She said thank you, so I feel like I should say thank you, but it is
now
fun.
You're just making it weird, okay?
I am making it weird.
All right, so welcome back. Thank you so much. We'll be back. And
These are the kinds of...
we would love to hear your feedback or questions, because I did want to open that. I didn't tell you about this, but I really would like to hear what people want us to talk about.
Oh, topics, sure.
Topics, questions, email us. We'll put a link somewhere. Bella will, because I will not be doing that.
Of how you can reach out to us, and we would like to know. And just even thoughts that you might have. We're in this together, We're all connected, so... we would love to hear what you have to say and see what's going on in your journey.
Absolutely.
All right. Until next time.
Until next time. Bye.